Hello, this is Kieran Sparrowhawk of MyCognition, here to talk about the AI for Good program, preventing mental illness in children. Let me tell you about Jimmy. Jimmy's a bit of a loner. He's poor at maths, and as a result, he behaves badly because he wants to get excluded from the class because he doesn't want to look an idiot. He gets punished for his bad behaviour, and he's given more maths, which to Jimmy is just further punishment. As a result, his behaviour deteriorates. He goes from bad to worse, and eventually he's excluded from school. He ends up with problems with drugs and alcohol, and is involved in the criminal justice system. He's in and out of prison. He has relationships. He has children, and his children end up at school, and they can't do maths. The only silver lining is that while in prison, Jimmy is diagnosed with mental illness and begins to get some treatment for it. According to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, childhood cognitive fitness is predictive of a wide range of critical outcomes. Good cognition is a predictor of academic potential, positive outcomes throughout life, things like good health, employment and wealth, career success, quality of life, all good things. However, poor cognitive fitness is a predictor of learning and behavioural difficulties, involvement in crime, mental illness. Did you know that 50% of mental illnesses emerge by the age of 14, 75% by 24 years of age? Cognition and mental health are based on about 30% genetic hard coding, but 70% from nurture, from our experiences of life. So cognition and mental illnesses are weakened by exposure to severe stress which causes inflammation. This will come from things like trauma, injuries, infection and diseases. MyCQ, the MyCognition quotient, has been used to assess the cognitive fitness of thousands of children. Each blue dot here represents the average score for a child of that age. From this, we can see if a child is on the correct cognitive trajectory for their age. Simply put, we can see if a child has good, average, or poor cognition. Another way of showing the data is through a bell-shaped binomial distribution curve. Here, the distribution shows that most children are close to the average score, with smaller numbers at extremities at poor or good cognition. This is what you would expect when you're measuring something like health. Now, by assessing cognition, we can know our child's risk of mental illness, and then we can look at ways to improve it. So we can see with poor cognition that they have a high risk of mental illness, and with good cognition, there's a low risk of mental illness. However, cognition isn't fixed, and a child with poor cognition can improve, reducing their risk of mental illness, which is great. But be careful, cognition is a two-way street, and children with good cognition can descend into the poor area, can increase their risk of mental illness. MyCQ is easy to administer, and we can assess and analyse the impact of stress on a large number of children across the cognitive spectrum. So we've been able to analyse children with poor cognition, and we can see that relatively low levels of stress can accumulate in them, and over time, they can show mental illness. However, we don't often see symptoms of mental illness. What we see is poor academic ability, bad behaviour, and that they're socially withdrawn. The same symptoms that we saw in Jimmy. Down the other end of the spectrum, children with good cognition have the most protection to high levels of stress. They may actually seek the stress here because they see this as enabling them to perform well. The thing you have to be careful of, though, is that there's a stress threshold, and this works across the entire spectrum. If you're above the threshold, as it's easy to be with poor cognition, you're in dangerous territory. So even children with good cognition, we've got the highest bandwidth, giving them good productivity, good mental health, good academic potential and appropriate behaviour. if they push themselves too far or are pushed by others to go too far, they can end up with inflammatory stress. And if this is in a chronic state, they can end up falling all the way down and out and showing the same symptoms as a child with poor cognition. Now that we can measure cognition in every child, we know what to do to help to improve them to get to good cognition. We can do this through good stress, good forms of stress, the right amount of stress at every stage of their development. And they can move from poor cognition to good cognition. Once there, we can further reduce a child's risk of mental illness by increasing their resilience to stress, by enhancing and strengthening, heightening the stress threshold. Let's now look at the three-step process to reducing mental illness in children. 1, we can screen every child with MyCognition's MyCQ. They can do this on any device, and it shows where they are on the cognitive spectrum, plus it gives an overview of the 5 core cognitive domains. It shows their progress over time. They can take MyCQ as often as is required, and this shows them enhancing their cognition and building their resilience. It shows improvement on the cognition domains. The second step is to use the AquaSnap training program to strengthen their cognition and mental resilience. This is a 15-minute active daily meditation where the children explore the ocean with their boat, dive and take photos. It's a video game with loops of cognitive training within it. The AquaSnap training program is automatically personalised to that child's needs. It takes their score from MyCQ, trains them on all 5 cognitive domains, but trains more intensely in domains where they've got the greatest need. Hence, this personalised approach is very effective. The third step is the Healthy Habits program, where we educate children to adopt a healthy lifestyle for long-term maintenance and consolidation of their cognition. This is showing healthy habits for good mental health. We look at things like good nutrition, good hydration, good sleep patterns, good physical exercise, and good social interactions. This is critical for all children and should be part of all children's education. Let's go back to Jimmy. Yes, Jimmy's socially withdrawn, he's poor at maths, he's badly behaved. But on this occasion, he's put on the MyCognition program. And for 15 minutes a day for 1 term, he takes the program, at the end of which there's a transformation. Jim's behaviour improves. He's now self-regulated. He doesn't kick off anymore. He improves in maths, and he does well enough to pass maths. He goes to college, he gets a job, he gets married, he has children, and his children go to school and they can do maths. We've broken the cycle. I mentioned the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation at the beginning. They wrote a report about us. They were told that the rigour of MyCognition's combined approach is a true differentiator in the field. We have the most comprehensive approach to assessing and training cognition. They also said that we're the leading company in the world when it comes to cognitive programs targeted at children. We're also NHS approved. We're regulated and CE marked as a medical device. We have a patent. Orca, the world leading reviewer of health apps, gave us one of the highest ratings in mental health. We've won prestigious awards for our research in education. And we took part in the AI for Good program with Microsoft. We have some great quality data, and we were able to analyse this data as part of the AI for Good program. And this is going to help us develop more of a diagnostic approach to our assessment, and it will strengthen our training programs. So we'd love to continue to do more research in this area. In order to do so, we need help. We need help with our marketing and our sales. We need partnerships. We could also do with some investment to support those activities, and also a little bit of investment to do further work as part of following on from the AI for Good program. Here are my contact details. If you're interested in really making a big social impact, please get in touch. Thank you.